Hi again, it's Colin here. Last time I showed you the process of making this raised bed thing that I've got here. That was for planting some lettuces in. I had a few problems with it after I'd put it in place and filled it with soil. Obviously I hadn't been using big enough nails because one of the boards came out at the back, so I've had to ram some stones in between it and the wall to hold the board in place. Like I've said before, imagination and improvisation are quite key with this sort of gardening. So I'm ready to plant the lettuces now. These are seedlings that I grew from seed, and I showed you them before, but they're getting a bit bigger now. I think they're about ready to plant. I'm not sure really, I've never done it before. I've never grown lettuces before, so we'll see how they do. I had a problem with when I was watering these, that if I watered them from above, tried to be as careful as I could, it flattened them down, and I didn't have anything big enough to put them in so that I could water them from below. And then I remembered this thing down here, which is an old broken child's slide that was actually dumped in the alley in the back of our old house, and I've been keeping around for ages, and it got broken, and because of the shape of it, I was able to put some water in it and just put the tray in it, and it soaked them nicely from below over a couple of days. So I've also made the soil here nice and wet. I give it some water this morning, and so I'm going to make some holes. I'm going to use this piece of wood to dip some holes, and then I can just hopefully just pop every little section out. I'll try that now and then see how it works. So I might as well start one here. Make a hole. Maybe one over here. And I think with the width of this, I think I'm going to try and get away with 3 rows of lettuces, and maybe spaced every 15-20 centimetres. See how that works. If necessary, I can thin them out again later. And each section has probably got more than one. It's got 2 or 3 plants in. But I'm just going to try with this and see how it works. There we go. So you can see what that's like. That's got 2 little plants in. I think they're both lettuces. Sometimes when you're growing things from seed, especially if you're using homemade compost, you can find that plants come up that aren't the things that you sowed because there's weed seeds in the soil, and it's not always easy to tell what's what. But usually if everything on the tray looks the same, or most of it looks the same, you think that's probably the one that you planted. If there's 1 or 2 plants that look completely different, there's a good chance that they might be something else. So I'm just going to plop that in there. Okay. Let's do a couple more. It's not always easy to get them out. I'm going to go and get a spoon and see if that helps. Okay, so I've actually got this little flat piece of metal that I found lying around, and I think that might work to go down the side and scoop them out. Okay, so that's actually got 4 or 5 plants there, so I might try and separate them out before I put them in. For something like a lettuce, eventually you only want 1 plant in each slot, so if you've got 2 seedlings there, I'm going to see which one of them does best and then pull the other one out. If I can rescue it and have somewhere else to plant it, I will. Some plants you can get away with having 2 or 3 or even more in a place, like spring onions particularly, you like to grow them in little bunches. So that's all of my lettuces planted out. Well, it's not all of them actually, it's all of the ones I've got space for. There's quite a few left. There's I've probably only planted about half of what I had. So I'm going to try and repot some of these into something a bit bigger than this, just for the time being, and I'll see how many of these ones survive, and I'll fill in the gaps with some of these. And in the meantime, I'll see if I can find somewhere else for these as well, like on a sort of more permanent basis. Hi again. I made the first part of this video a couple of days ago, and when I was editing the video I realised that I'd been blocking out with my body the view of the plants as I was planting them. So as I've still got a few of these left to plant, and I've got this basin with soil and compost in, I'm going to put a few more of these in here, mainly just to store them, give them a bit more space in case I need them to fill in the gaps there. But while I'm doing that, I can show you what I was actually doing as I was planting them, because obviously you couldn't see on the other one. So I'm using this piece of wood, and I'm just, don't know if you can see, I'm just dibbing holes like that. Maybe just two lines here. Maybe, I think there's probably room for about 6 plants in this. It's not a very big container. They're still a little closer together than they were in the other one. So now I need to get the plants out of here. Dipping in there like that. Again, like I said before, there's quite a few different plants here. There's I think six plants here. I don't want all of those in the final thing, so I'm going to take away some of them. Actually, I think I might just leave one here. I've got so many spare. So I'm just going to put that in there like that. I'm just putting it in the hole and then firming the soil compost around it. So you can see now what that looks like. I'll make it nice and vertical at the end so it grow nice and upright. Let's do the others. My glove back on actually. Let's find a good one here. Got a nice little plug of soil there with that one. And I'm just putting that, all of the compost that was from this container, putting it in there. This one I've just left all of the plants there, and I'll see which of those do. As you can see, when it comes to lettuces, I'm making it up as I go along because I've never actually grown lettuces before. Let's try this one. This looks good for the last one. Okay, so I've got 6 there. Obviously you can see the first one looks a little bit sad on it because that's just one plant. The others are clumps of plants. So I'm just going to see what happens with that, and I'll show you the other bed that I planted the other day as to how that is doing. And here is the other bed. I planted this, I think it was 2 or 3 days ago. I can't remember exactly when I filmed the first video, and as you can see the plants are all doing well. They've not grown immensely since then, but they're not all died either, so that's good. And I'm keeping them nice and wet, but being careful not to knock them down when I water them as well. Okay, well that's enough for now, so I'll stop there. Bye for now, and see you next time.